You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
The June 28th primary is less than 2 months away, and our next guest knows who he will be voting for to go up against Governor Pritzker come November. House Minority Leader Jim Durkin joins us now. Leader, I want to start here. A couple of months ago, you had a press conference with one of your colleagues, and after they finished answering a question on why they will be supporting Richard Irvin, you leaned in and said, he's also the only one that can win.
I remember that. I did say that.
So my first question is, what is it about Richard Irvin? Why do you believe he is the only candidate who can beat Governor Pritzker?
His history and his life story is compelling. His record at Aurora is compelling. I personally know Richard. I knocked on doors for him 20 years ago. But also something that I identify with him greatly is that he served the public as a prosecutor. That is a job that I relish and I have the greatest and the fondest memories of. And for him, he served both in Cook County, but also with the Kane County State's Attorney. And at a time where we are dealing with an avalanche of bad laws hitting Illinois with the Safety Act, he and I agree on many things. But one is that when he's governor and when I take over as speaker, we're going to repeal 3653, the Safety Act, and start it all over again.
Okay, well now I'll go the other way. What is it about the rest of the field that you believe makes them unable to beat Governor Pritzker?
You've got to be able to win in the suburbs and also in Chicago. None of them have that type of quality nor appeal that is strong enough as Richard's to be able to reach into areas where we traditionally have not won. So that is why I think Richard, on balance, is clearly the strongest candidate to compete against J.B. Pritzker. And here's also why. The DGA, Democrat Governors Association, is not running TV ads against Darren Bailey or Gary Rabine or Jesse Sullivan. They're running him against Richard Irvin. They are scared of Richard. They don't want to run against Richard. That is why they're making this huge investment.
So you're saying Democrats aren't scared of any of the other candidates, only Richard Irvin?
No, clearly. They'd be running television commercials against them as well.
The governor's office isn't the only seat Republicans are targeting this year. Do you believe Republicans have enough momentum to gain seats in the House and possibly take back the majority?
In this cycle, anything is possible. We have researched the state, the votes. We're looking at trends. We're looking at state trends and also national trends. And there's a reason why we have over 90 Republicans on the ballot, and we're going to have more after the primary election, because we feel very confident about our message and our candidates. And also, we believe that the issues that people care about, inflation, public safety, the Democrats own the problems with each one of those. So we will define the Democrats in each area of the state about that. And we feel that we'll make a compelling case.
During this session, we saw some fractures form in the Democratic caucuses in both chambers when it came to the issue of crime. But we also know there are some differences in the Republican Party as well, with some Republican candidates positioning themselves in the Trump corner of the Republican Party. I wonder, do you think the Trump stamp of approval is something that a Republican should seek out and desire for this coming election?
I'm not going to speak for other candidates. I know that at the end of the day, voters in Illinois are voting for the person. They're not voting on somebody who's from out of state, and particularly somebody who was previously in office. I think that people in Illinois are very much concerned about what's happening under the roof in Springfield and also in their backyards. And they know that whether it's a former president or anyone else comes in for someone, it's not going to make a difference. Who is the person that is the most likely and has the best chance of reforming Illinois and bringing common sense to the mansion, but also helping change the trajectory of the state? And that's why I'm with Richard Irvin. Richard Irvin, like, he's an incredible contrast to J.B. Pritzker. Grew up in a very difficult life. A teenage mother raised him and his brother in a housing project. He worked his way through college, through law school, served as an assistant state's attorney, both in Cook County and also in Kane County, served 4 years in the military on the front line. He's a person who people are going to identify with, but also he is by and far the most competitive, and I would say he is the most competitive candidate we have in this race. And Republicans need to know, if they may like some of these other candidates, but the fact is, can they beat J.B. Pritzker? My response on that is they can't. They need to think about that. They need to be pragmatic about their votes. If they want to win, there's one person, only one person who can compete with Pritzker, and it's Richard Irvin.
It's obvious crime and public safety are going to be two key issues that Republicans continue to attack Governor Pritzker and other Democrats on for the next 6 months. But I wonder, what are some other points that you feel make Governor Pritzker vulnerable going into November?
Governor Pritzker has abandoned the middle class and the center of Illinois. He's taken on a very left progressive approach towards not only pushing legislation, but also signing legislation. It's as if he's running for another office. So Illinois is not this far left progressive state. It is a centrist state, and J.B. Pritzker has taken the extremes on every issue. We're going to be seeing blackouts in Southern Illinois, and huge electric bills are going to spike up because of his desire to go to Scotland and claim that I'm the king of climate change. But what it's done, it was not a bill that was negotiated well, and it caused a lot of grief in Southern Illinois for jobs, but it's going to hurt the ratepayers significantly because of his signature on that bill for one purpose.
The rising rates on electric bills are problems that are being felt all across the Midwest, not just here in Illinois. So how can you point to Illinois' climate legislation as the reason for this increase?
It affects the price of power when you purchase it, when the IPA goes out into the market and purchases power for the electric companies and also for the Emirates and ComEds, because they look at there's going to be absolutely no coal fire plants, no matter how clean they are, in the state of Illinois, and it does affect the price of electricity as it's purchased. So I had that briefing yesterday with Emirates, and they made it very clear that that is what they're looking at, is that there's not going to be this diverse portfolio that Illinois has traditionally had. And you know what? Sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day, and the wind doesn't blow 24 hours a day as well. So they're relying upon wind and solar to be able to make up what they're doing by shutting off the power plants that went down in Southern Illinois, which was a big mistake.
Republicans have consistently attacked this year's budget for its high level of spending, but Illinois just received its third credit rating upgrade in the past year alone. If the credit ratings agencies are saying Illinois is in a better place, can you really argue against that?
Well, let me just say this, that the reason why the budget's in the place it is right now is not because of anything that J.B. Pritzker nor the House or Senate Democrats did with making strong and good policy for the business climate. J.B. Pritzker is the beneficiary of multi-billion dollars from the federal government through the bailout. But he's also the beneficiary of a inflation-induced sugar high because of what taxpayers are having to pay because of the price of for goods, services, everything else that has been caused by the massive federal spending, but also I will say that the governor's spending as well. So look, he can talk about how great this budget is, but the fact is there's nothing that he can point to that is responsible for it. This is a one-time hit for him. We are spending, when ARPA money runs out, that's the federal bailout money that's coming out, we're going to find out that our revenues will decrease by 6% while he continues to spend well above and beyond. He will be spending at 10% when ARPA runs out, and will be at revenue that's going to be half of this. So we're going to be back to the old days with J.B. Pritzker.
Republicans have also used that increase in spending to say Governor Pritzker has plans for a future tax increase, but he's given no indication of that plan. And we just had Comptroller Mendoza on earlier in this show, and she said the state is in good fiscal health and can cover that level of spending into the future. So what is the basis for these claims?
Can you trust the governor right now? It was only a few years ago in which he said that if you don't pass my constitutional amendment to change the tax code, him and his lieutenant governor said that Illinois citizens are going to be hit with a 20% income tax increase. Never occurred. So that was just a smokescreen for them to be able, for JB to be able to say that part of this plan that he has to go far to the left, and it didn't work. Taxpayers, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats saw through it. So why wouldn't they believe he wouldn't do the same thing again after this? He's not gonna rein in spending. He's not gonna have an austere budget and say we're gonna live within our means. He's gonna say, well, we have to continue to spend at this level, and the only way we can do it is by changing the tax code. So people should be warned that the governor cannot be trusted with their taxpayer dollars, with their money, and no one should be, because he's misled Illinoisans once before, and he'll do it again.
House Minority Leader Jim Durkin, thank you for joining us today. When we come back, we talk with Representative Sue Scheer about challenges facing school districts, especially heading into this summer, and how they're going to need to find more teachers to fill their classrooms. We'll be right back.